Yeah, now, we're switching over to, Omar and Clifford, so you guys cover as far as the importance of cybersecurity awareness program, so.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. I am Omar Clark. I'm a junior cybersecurity analyst, and today I have my colleague,
Clifford Benjamin, also
Yeah.
cybersecurity analyst.
and we're going to be talking about the importance of cybersecurity awareness programs. So, anyone in here, you all have cybersecurity awareness programs in your C1 and C2 program. We do some things. Especially we don't do those. Okay. So, as Edward said earlier, we're in digital transformation right now. So, cybersecurity no longer is just a buzzword, it is something that we have to intertwine within our companies. So, I'm going to give a definition of what cybersecurity awareness training is. This awareness training is the process of educating people to understand, identify, and avoid cyber threats. The ultimate goal is to prevent, mitigate harm to both the organization and its stakeholders by reducing risk. So, picture this, a single click. That's all it takes for us humans or an employee to bring down the company. Cyber threats grow more sophisticated daily, and especially they are hard to recognize if you don't have that awareness training built in to your company. The reality is at least 60% of small businesses close within 6 months after a cyber attack. Most persons just don't have the knowledge, the tools, or the support they need to protect themselves or their organizations. Because, well, the average person's cybersecurity knowledge is kind of patchy. They know a few things, but they don't go in depth into how to identify certain threats. Okay, so cybersecurity threats are no longer limited to just large corporations or governments. Today, we see small businesses, medium-sized firms, and even startups who are targeted by cyber criminals. It's also stated that 43% of these cyber attacks target small businesses. Anyone could give me like a general reason why you think a cyber criminal will attack a small business?
Lack of resources. Lack of resources.
Yes, lack of resources, no infrastructure. Yes, and those are absolutely correct because they see us as our small businesses as low hanging fruit because of the lack of infrastructure they get in easily. So we came across that where we have what we call a script kiddie, where they buy like a ransom a virus kit, like how you would buy antivirus. They will buy ransomware online and they will try to say send an email to us in here. Whoever click, they get in and they say, well, if this works, let me try a bigger company. So consider this, every 39 seconds, a cyber attack occurs somewhere in the world. These aren't just abstract statistics, they represent threats to our organizations, our data, and our very way of doing business. A survey done by IBM suggests that 95% of cybersecurity breaches stem from human error, not from super hackers or advanced technology, but from simple human mistakes. Think about that for a moment. This means that a single employee clicking on a malicious link, like by a script kiddie or a more advanced attacker, or using a weak password, or connecting to free Wi-Fi. I know a lot of persons within Barbados like to find free Wi-Fi. Won't call any company name, but we know it. A single click from that can also bring down the most sophisticated firewall or advanced encryption technology. So we are not really talking about incompetence, we are talking about carelessness or the lack thereof. A comprehensive cybersecurity awareness program transforms your workforce from a potential vulnerability into your strongest assets. So why would you want to have a awareness program? Cybercriminals are master psychologists. They don't need to break through your firewall. They simply ask for your keys. This is what we know as social engineering. This is when they use your emotions against you. So they come with tactics like fear, trust, or curiosity. So you will see an email come in and it will be like, win an iPhone 15, or you get something from Amazon saying your package hasn't arrived and they're trying to get hold of you and there's a link. Recently over the Christmas holiday, I've been getting the USPS and it's not a clickable link. They want you to highlight the link and put it in the Safari browser. So they're trying all kinds of ways now to get into our systems. But here's the good news. We can turn our biggest vulnerabilities into our strongest defense. Imagine transferring every employee from a potential weak link into a human firewall. Yes, technological defenses are a valuable weapon for preventing breaches, but they still require the interaction by humans. A well-informed workforce is a critical risk mitigation strategy. Cybersecurity awareness programs reduce the likelihood of incidents by transforming employees from vulnerabilities to the first line of defense. So when you implement these initiatives, your organization can decrease the exposure by human-centered attacks. It can also limit financial loss and downtime due to these initiatives. And it can also maintain the trust of your stakeholders and customers. But we need to remember, cybersecurity awareness is not about building an impenetrable fortress. It's about creating a culture of vigilance where every single employee becomes a proactive defender. It starts at the top when leadership involvement comes into play. This transformation, when leaders actively champion cybersecurity, it sets the tone for the entire organization. And I'm not referring to just launching a program for compliance, because really and truly that does absolutely, well, it does some bit of good, but it doesn't it doesn't pinpoint where your awareness for your organization should. Executives who take an active role in championing cybersecurity initiatives and ensure best practices are embedded in daily operations send a clear message. Security is not just an operational function, but a fundamental component for business resilience and success. So leaders who allocate resources, ensure sufficient budget, personnel, and technology investments for the implementation of effective security. They also establish policies that are clear, comprehensive, that go along with a framework that aligns with business objectives and also regular compliance. They also foster accountability. They build a culture of vigilance where every employee understands their role in safeguarding the organization and its assets. So the leader of today, some part you should be an architect of cyber culture, where employees should be able to come and say, well, I think it fixed on the link, and not have to worry about, well, that's the end of you and us. So we need that leaders understand, well, this is how things are happening today. It's getting more sophisticated, and as I said earlier, they use psychology against us. So investing in a robust cybersecurity awareness program is not just an expense. It's a strategic investment. It shows that organizations with a mature security awareness program can reduce incidents by up to 70%. They can lower the potential of breach-related costs by millions, and they can also enhance overall organization resilience. Now I will turn it over to Clifford. He will go into what a cybersecurity program, the pillars of a cybersecurity program.
Like my colleague said, the threat landscape isn't waiting for us to catch. Every moment of inaction is an invitation to attackers. With awareness, vigilance, and leadership, an organization can build a resilient security culture that protects not just our data, but our very survival in this digital age. Now we will discuss further the key benefits on how to craft an effective cybersecurity awareness program. So I'll ask the question, and I'd like you to ponder on it. I'll repeat it a few times. What makes an effective cybersecurity awareness program? Again, as my colleague identified, cybersecurity begins with leadership. Your active involvement is absolutely essential. Once leadership is on board, we need to empower our teams with the knowledge they need. It requires education, accessible resources, and regular training. What makes an effective cybersecurity awareness program? An effective cybersecurity program doesn't need to be complicated. It needs to be targeted and actionable. We should start with a risk assessment to identify our vulnerabilities and prioritize training in those areas. Most organizations face the biggest risk, and Edward would have pointed out earlier, phishing, ransomware, and someone in here also mentioned insider threats. We need to define key behaviors. What specific security practices should our employees adopt? This means focusing on practical things like identifying suspicious emails, avoiding risky downloads, and using strong passwords. Frequency is key. We should provide short, focused training sessions regularly, perhaps quarterly, and then reinforce that learning through email tips and quick visits. Repetition builds strong habits. And I'll ask the question again, what makes an effective cybersecurity awareness program? We need to teach our teams how to recognize the telltale signs of phishing, urgent call to action, suspicious email addresses, and unexpected attachments. We need to run phishing simulations where we send out fake phishing emails. That can be a valuable way to test our team awareness and identify areas for improvement. And alongside training, we should implement layered defenses like email filtering, multi-factor authentication, and anti-phishing tools to block attacks before they even reach your inboxes. So yes, you do need technology as part of the strategy. And I believe they both go hand in hand. You can have the best technology, but it's a work with it means nothing. I will not ask the question again this time, but it's coming. We need a clear and simple reporting process, and Omar touched on this just now, so employees know how and where to report suspicious security issues. It is critical to remove any fear of repercussions. Mistakes happen, and when they do, they need to be reported immediately. We need to build a culture where employees feel comfortable admitting to errors without fear of punishment. Shoot, I click this thing here. I can't let anybody know that you get fired. Nah, that done it. We need to act immediately. So I should be able to say, oh my boy, I get tricked. I click the link that I should make this suspicious website. IT team, the security team will be able to act on that. Isolate and contain. Not that I click on the link and it wasn't me. But when the IT come around asking, anybody saw that email? Got a link in there that looks suspicious. Anybody click on it? Nobody answering. It's not a problem. So let me go back to script now. Speed is absolutely critical. And we need to establish an incident response plan so that your teams know exactly what to do next, with clear assigned roles for investigation, containment, and recovery. Finally, we need to educate our staff about data classification and handling. Not all data is created equal, and earlier we were talking about different hacks in Barbados and all the data. I'm sure if a good data classification plan is in place, then persons who don't need to access certain data wouldn't have access. So they can't share, but they don't have access. The employee needs to understand how to identify sensitive data and handle it appropriately. My date of birth, my social security number, my address, my telephone number, PII. When you go somewhere to do something, oh, you need your ID card, when you're back and they scan it, but we don't know where that information is stored. Maybe on a computer that the whole organization have access to. PII, these things happen. We should limit, and which takes me to my next point. We should limit access to sensitive information to only those who absolutely need it for their jobs. All sensitive data, whether stored or being transmitted, should be encrypted. And the third point, the employee needs to be trained on how to use encrypted communication channels. And these are just some of the components that makes effective cybersecurity awareness programs in your organization. There's plenty more. Taking these steps will significantly strengthen your defense. However, to ensure the long-term effectiveness of your cybersecurity awareness program, we need to measure it. So we do all of these things, but we don't check to see if it's working or not. This means tracking cybersecurity training completion rates and ensuring everyone completes their training on time. Managers should follow up and encourage those who fall behind. We should regularly share data that explains the program's objective, and the program being your cybersecurity awareness program, and provide resources and procedures to help employees improve their awareness. We'll move to two life examples and two case studies. So to make this discussion more relatable, let's examine these two. And case study one, Target 2013, cause of the breach was accessed by a third party. And again, this could have been mitigated with proper employee contractor awareness training. So this goes a step further. You not only train your employees, but you also train your contractors. Persons who are going to have access to your system and your data should be part of that training exercise. Case study number two, spear phishing attack, part of social engineering. Sony Pictures 2014, and again, an educated workforce might have recognized the attack. Somewhere in that email, I have a link that someone would click on that give them access to the system.
And before Clifford go on, so you have spear phishing here. So spear phishing basically is we all sign up for this summit. If we try out to have all of our information, target only us for malicious email, hoping that one of us in here click on it. So it's a targeted email to a specific group of persons and not sent out into the world. So with Sony Pictures, it went only to Sony employees.
Okay, so before I hand back over to Omar, we're gonna do a little exercise. We're gonna look at a fake phishing email. And I'm sure everyone in here received the phishing email at some point in time, right? Yeah? Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna attempt to identify, we are gonna attempt to identify some of the telltale signs. And a little disclaimer, with the rise of AI, things like Grammarly and ChatGPT and Bard, which is now Gemini, it's very difficult to spot phishing email because the things like grammatical errors that you would have are no longer there, right? So then you have to rely on certain information that cannot change. For example, the domain name. When you hover over a link, it shows you where that link is supposed to go. You can cross-reference that with the domain to determine if that link is legitimate. So I'll point out 6 things that's wrong with this email. It says it's missing email address, third line down. So here, it's not there because again, it's been sent to multiple persons, so they can't really pinpoint it to one person. Grammatical errors between inbox and contact. So if you look down here, very subtle, but there's a space between the comma, right? The link to the bottom is wrong. Yeah, look here, it has 2 I, and if you're acting with speed because it has urgency in there, right? Then you can miss that small detail and put on a link that takes you somewhere different. It says here capitalization error U after Microsoft account. And so that will be here. It should be capital Y. And calendar is spelled wrong right here. And last but not least, pardon?
It's not coming.
Yeah.
You're coming away.
Oh, you mean on here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're in yeah. And the last thing is the something you will get something like unusual sending activity rather than urgent action.
The actual cycle is incorrect.
Pardon?
The actual structure is incorrect. It's all at the same time. And how we drive.
Yes,
Right.
correct.
You understand why it's like, but you would never receive that from it.
True. Question.
The last one is the RN support on Microsoft.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And together.
right there. Yes, correct. Part of the domain. Okay. All right. How are we on time? No. Okay. Let's look at another one. Skip through. I think the second slide after this. This one. Again, so we went through that one. Everyone kind of know what to look for now. And I'll let you point out some of the errors in this one. Yes. Anything else? Yes, correct. The urgency. So this is a crafty one. I did this one myself. There's no grammatical errors, right? I used AI, but you would get something like this telling you don't get scammed. But the scam is in here subtle. You understand? Because when you click on my links, it will take you places that allow you to put in your current password, your email address, and then later on I can use that. So next slide. All right. And these are the errors. that we've seen. Again, a link that does not point to a zone go get that scam again, and the little hidden stuff that you would click on. That's it. All right, so I'll now hand you back over to Omar.
Okay, so before we close off, any questions that you know? So in closing, cybersecurity awareness programs are no longer optional. It's a necessity. It's not just about protecting the organization, but rather safeguarding your customers, your partners, and your employers, and your loved ones. The human element is paramount in cybersecurity. We must empower our people with the knowledge and skills to be the first line of defense. Effective security awareness training goes beyond compliance. It engages, motivates, and empowers individuals to make informed security decisions. Together, we can cultivate a security conscious workforce that is informed, empowered, and resilient against the evolving threats. Thank you for your